love bombing versus real love. First, let's be clear about what love bombing is not. It's not real, it's not lasting, it's not safe, and it's not love. I don't even like to call it love bombing because the term itself is so misleading. It's not even a honeymoon period, which some people have called it, but see, a honeymoon term implies that there's actually real love. There's not. So what is it then? Julie Owens is a domestic violence expert that calls it manipulative kindness. The Psalm 82 initiative calls it the crack that gets you hooked on the good stuff in an emotionally manipulative relationship. Here at Wild, we call it buttering you up before you get fried. Lures you into a controlling, confusing, vacillating kind of relationship that becomes very, very hard to get out of. For the sake of familiarity, I'll use the term love bombing for this video because that's what most people know. Tina Swithin is the author of Divorcing a Narcissist. And you know what she says? She says that early in a new relationship, she was being lavished with attention, compliments, emotions, gifts, and over-the-top charm at every turn. The reality was, he didn't even know me. How does love bombing, manipulative kindness, relationship crack, and buttering up feel? That's a good question. I'm glad you asked. People use words like intense, an amazing connection, dreamy, really fast, whirlwind, overwhelming, takes my breath away, perfect, too good to be true. That's how love bombing feels. It's the crack that gets you hooked. It's the good stuff. And ever after that, you'll do whatever it takes to get back to the good stuff. You'll give up any part of your identity that you need to erase because you have this sense of obligation, this devotion, this dependency on the other person. And whenever it starts to go sour, you want to get back to the good stuff. What does love bombing look like? It can look like this, although there's probably a bunch of other ways it could look too, but these are common signs. Saying I love you super early, putting you on an adoration pedestal, a whirlwind romance, extreme expressions of devotion and affection, and also extreme expressions of not being able to live without you, telling you what you want to hear, and lots of flattery. Constant contact and expressions of inability to be able to do anything unless you're part of it with them. Making themselves indispensable and the answer to all your dreams. Smothering behaviors that at first may seem incredibly pleasing and flattering, but you know what? At first, after that wears off, then you won't be able to get enough space to breathe later. Demanding lots and lots and lots of your time and attention and being offended or sulking or pouting or even getting you back if you make plans with other friends or do something that doesn't include them and don't make them the limelight of your existence. Oversharing very early on about a lot of deep, personal, intimate kind of stuff, and then creating this artificial sense of intimacy and connection as a result of telling you so much. Or the inverse of this is asking you so many questions about yourself that they learn every little detail about you, but they never really open up about themselves, so you don't know that much about them in return. Grandiose gifts or gestures, often not even things you actually like. Because they're not paying attention to your likes and preferences, maybe they're just giving you what they think will make you feel good because it would make them feel good. But also, it still creates this sense of obligation because you're being worshipped and you have this obligation to respond with affection and trust and to let them do whatever they want because they've done such nice things to you. It's that manipulative kindness. So what happens next? You're going through these early stages of love bombing and it feels amazing and you're trying to figure out if it's true and real or not. How do you know? Well, once you're beginning to be under their control, it is very likely that the affection and attention and all of the things that made it so amazing will drop down to crumbs. Just little specks of what the beginning of the relationship was like. Just enough will keep coming to keep you hooked and hoping for more of the good stuff. Dishonesty will start, or a portion of dishonesty, lack of full transparency, leaving out details, or taking over everything that you used to do for yourself in order to protect you. So doing more than you need done, or leaving out information because they're controlling your flow of information. This Jekyll and Hyde thing is another one. One time they're amazing, and then you see this flash of this whole other person. You're like, wow, do I even know you? The thing is, you don't. And when you see a Jekyll and Hyde kind of dichotomy, where it seems like there's two different people, you know what? Hyde is the real person. Because good people don't pretend to be evil, but evil people definitely pretend to be good. So when you see that glimpse of that person that seems unrecognizable, run, because they've just showed you who they really are. We say that Jekyll and Hyde, when you have those two, and Dr. Jekyll is the nice guy and Mr. Hyde is the mean guy, Mr. Hyde is not the monster. Dr. Jekyll is the monster, because the monster is the one that makes you believe that the other one can be trusted. Signs of jealousy, overprotectiveness, telling you what to do, acting like they know what's best for you better than you do. And over time, you'll realize that the relationship isn't based on mutual respect or honesty or trust. They actually have way more control than you do. And they've been carefully isolating you from other people, triangulating you to make sure you don't talk to other people who might know other things or truths about them, creating rifts between you and your family, your best friends, creating tension, toxic drama, and it feels like you've started to walk on eggshells. You may not even know why. Can love bombing happen later on in the relationship too? Absolutely it can. It is not just an initial relationship kind of thing. It can happen over and over and over again. In fact, it's most likely to happen whenever you've started to figure things out. At any stage of the relationship, the toxic person can decide that you've started to slip too far away and they need to lure you back in. That means they're going to turn on the charm again like a faucet. And it might happen after they've hurt you really badly or broken your trust or tried to break up with you or shown their true colors somehow. Or you just caught them lying or cheating or omitting something. And because they've realized you're close to figuring out the truth, they turn on the charm as a distraction tactic. And all of a sudden, you're sure everything's okay again because now you've got the crack. It's back to the good stuff. So instead of just listening to the words someone says, look carefully at their behavior. Here's a series of questions you can ask. Do they have positive, well-established relationships with healthy, balanced people around them? Are they critical and judgmental of lots of other people? Does it feel like they're trying to isolate you and turn you and your friends against each other, or they act like they really need to have you all to themselves? Do they respect other people's boundaries, including yours, and honor other people's preferences without complaining about it? Do they act like they're better than everyone else? Do they have an attitude of superiority toward the people who serve them or the people that they can't get anything from right away? The people who don't have something to help them gain? Do they get road rage? Do they refuse to tip servers? Do they have a lot of anger when things don't go their way, or in a hair-trigger explosive temper, flashes of anger? Do they have other reckless, adrenaline-seeking behaviors, like they just can't get enough and can't fill up? So what if you're not sure yet? You're trying to figure it out. It might possibly fit, but you just don't know. Try this. Try setting some boundaries, taking back some of your personal space and time and expressing that you're not comfortable with the pace or the vibe of the relationship, with the intensity of the relationship. Now, if they try to make you feel guilty, if they try to run roughshod over your boundaries, if they try to twist it as though you're causing them pain by setting boundaries, or if they justify their behavior and tell you all the reasons why you're wrong, run. You've got your answer. Don't wait any longer. Get out of that relationship. Don't give anyone the power to manipulate you, especially if you struggle with self-esteem and it feels really good to be adored. That makes you very vulnerable to someone who's going to put you on a pedestal and then yank it out from underneath you. This can give us a total rush of validation, but it only lasts for a moment. Kelly McNellis says, at its core, no relationship is healthy when its foundation is manipulation and dishonesty. And I would add control. Any of those things mean the relationship is not healthy. So what is real love? In today's world, how can you define what real love is, and how can you know it when you've found it? Real love is kind, and there are no strings attached. Real love is steady. It doesn't fluctuate with moods and feelings. Real love casts out fear because real love is safe. Real love doesn't make you scared. If it isn't safe, it isn't love. Real love offers freedom of choice and refuses to control, dominate, or manipulate or take away another person's individuality. Real love has mutual respect for each other's individual reality and personhood, and it goes both ways. Real love tells the truth. Instead of keeping secrets, protecting through lies or omission, or assuming that the other person can't handle the truth. Real love knows that truth builds trust, and trust, a lifetime of trust, can be shattered in a moment by a lie. Real love communicates even when it's hard, instead of swallowing back your opinions over and over again just to keep the peace, and muffling your hurts and stuffing them down to make sure that you don't have any ripples. Real love is willing to have brave conversations. Real love is a partnership. It's teamwork. It's pulling side by side in the hard work of life. It's working together until the job is done, not just, I did my share, you're stuck with yours. Real love is faithful and gives you no reason to doubt it. Real love patiently forgives mistakes, and at the same time, does not ever enable, empower, or excuse known sin or other toxic, abusive behaviors. Real love pays attention to the little things and knows that faithfulness in tiny daily things matters the most of all. So how do you find real love? It's the eternal question. What do you look for? Well, I can tell you first what to stop looking for. Stop looking for strong leadership. Stop looking for dynamic and charming. Stop getting distracted by stylish and charismatic. Now, are any of those things harmful in and of themselves? Of course not. But if that's how you're measuring someone's potential for real love, you're headed for heartbreak and you'll end up with the wrong person every time. Here's what to look for instead. It's so obvious, but most of the time we don't spell it out. And that is, look for the fruits of the Holy Spirit. Look for the evidence of the Holy Spirit. First, let me tell you what it doesn't look like. The evidence of the Holy Spirit does not mean they pray long, beautiful public prayers. It does not mean that they're super involved in religious activities. And it does not just mean someone who talks about God and does a lot of good stuff all the time and makes sure people know about it. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about looking for these 9 qualities: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Yeah, I know. This description sounds like a list for godly women, right? Well, it can be, and it should be. If you think about it, it sounds like she's loving, she's kind, she's sweet, she's pretty, she's feminine. Stop right there. Paul wasn't writing to women when he wrote Galatians chapter 5. He was writing to humans. That means the fruits of the Spirit are human qualities to be cultivated. That means the fruits of the Spirit are the baseline, the standard, the benchmark for godly men too. If you want a quality, safe, trustworthy man of God, memorize Galatians 5, 22 and 23. But the Holy Spirit produces this kind of fruit in our lives: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. That's the standard. That's what real love looks like. And girls, that is what you hold out for.